As you can see, here's my wonderful draft. There's currently nothing showing right now, not because I didn't do it, but because I used layers to separate and organize all the aspects of my draft. Layers are an absolute necessity if you want to keep your draft organized and easy to manage. I use layers in my draft to separate my bridges, moats, patios, annotations, walkways, and decorations from each other. As I turn on all my layers now, you can see the entirety of my drafting project. But although there's a moat, sadly this is not a castle. Now let's use my views to snap over to where I use the spline command. The spline command is a more freeform way of adding curves into your draft. I took advantage of that to make my walkway look more natural and relaxed, as you can see here. Over here is one of the main examples of me using hatching inside my draft. Hatching is another one of those essential tools you need to make sure that your draft stays organized and neat throughout. I use hatching over here to make sure that people could tell the difference between the moat and the bridge above it. Let's use my views again to snap over to where I use the fleck command. The fleck command is a common yet crucial tool used by drafters all around. The fleck command rounds off a corner to a radius that you give it. Many drafters use it for both functional and aesthetic uses throughout their drafts. The bush was probably the most complicated part of this draft, mostly because it required multiple commands to make one shape. I first started making the bush by getting a triangle that I then arrayed around a circle to make it look like a 4-point star. I then trimmed the inside lines that were not needed before I finally hatched it green and then saved it as a block so I was able to place it wherever I wanted. As you can see over here, I wrote the word bridge. That is to signify that this is a bridge, which it indeed is. This is called an annotation. Annotations are useful within drafting to make sure that people are able to understand your draft without any discrepancies. As you can see over here, I use the dimension command. The dimension command is important if you're trying to recreate your draft into real life. Without it, people wouldn't be able to recreate your draft with accuracy because they wouldn't have the units.